Why is communication a team sport? And what do you mean by that?
Yeah. So oftentimes the leader will think their team's the problem. The team is thinking the leader, they're the problem. And the actual problem is really alignment that stems from communication. I don't mean for it to sound cliche, but communication is the key. And so one person is not going to create a successful team dynamic. Everyone on the team has got to participate and they've got to contribute their words, their questions, their opinions, their ideas, the collaboration, mastering conflict, all of these things. It's going to build trust. We've got to get to know each other. It can't just be one person, whether it be the leader or one person that is on the team in general, holding the flower and saying, everybody follow me. It doesn't work that way. You're only going to build trust when you're actually talking to each other and getting to know each other. So that's what I mean by communication is a team sport.
Hi, I'm Christy Honeycutt, your host for Inside the C-Suite, where execs get real about leadership, impact, and what truly drives high-stake decisions. This year marks a major milestone for my guest. Carrie Fabris, 10 years of building CareerFrame and helping leaders and teams unlock their full potential. Carrie is a certified executive coach, leadership facilitator, author, and founder of CareerFrame, with leadership experience spanning organizations like Google, Travelocity, and Sabre. She spent the last decade helping executives, managers, and teams align talent, improve communication, and build high-performing cultures. To celebrate CareerFrame's 10-year anniversary, Carrie has set a bold goal of booking 10 workshops in 60 days. So today, we're diving into what she's learned from coaching leaders over the past decade, why communication is truly a team sport, and how to help organizations create cultures, accountability, and performance where people thrive together. Let's jump in, shall we? Carrie, I am so excited to have you on the show. You are someone that has become very close to my heart for obvious reasons. I know that my introduction did not do you justice, so I would love for you to introduce yourself to the audience and a little bit of what you do.
Well, thank you for having me on your show. What an honor. And I feel the same way about you. And I don't know, it was a pretty solid introduction. So I don't know that I have more to add. I think it's more of let's dive into this incredible, juicy conversation that we're going to
Well, there's nothing better than a leadership podcast having an executive coach on because we all want to know what is going on. So I always ask my interviewees this question. So I'm going to ask you, I know that every leader has a defining moment. I want to know what's yours and how did that fundamentally change the way you lead today?
Can I answer that in two parts?
Of course.
Because I had my corporate career of over 20 years, and then I've been doing CareerFrame for now 10 years, which I know you mentioned it's our anniversary this year, which is exciting and hard to believe. And I would say in my corporate experience, a defining moment was when I was actually at Google and I was the newbie at the leadership offsite conference. We had taken over the Phoenician in Phoenix, and I felt like I got a crash course in business school with all the things we had to do. And I got the opportunity to be selected to present in front of the entire North America leadership team with the president of America's sitting on the stage about 7 feet from me. And that was a moment where I could either totally screw this up or I could nail it. And I'm proud to say I nailed it. And that was a defining moment of I've got this. I'm good at this. I want to be doing this. When you're fueled by passion and the desire to succeed and it's coming from the right place, it's not coming from ego, it's coming from the heart, you're going to nail it every time. So that was a real defining moment for me in my Google career and in my corporate career. And then I would say with CareerFrame, it's been a defining moment for me was when I failed the first time doing it and then did the work on myself to, again, from my heart, because I failed, it was because I was coming from an ego perspective. So when I could acknowledge that, got more in the heart and was like, why am I doing what I do? And how can I be better at this? And when I did the work and then jumped back into it and then just took off, that was a defining moment of really just as leaders in general, when you're leading with the why and it's heart led, not brain and ego led, the ripple effect of awesomeness that follows, it's the best. So I would say those were two pretty big defining moments for me.
Well, I love that you're vulnerable because I find that true leaders are, in fact, vulnerable. And I know that the clients that probably come to you are being very vulnerable and help us with XYZ. So, with you doing Career Frame and not launching it the way you first envisioned and really
Mm.
going back and doing that work on yourself, what guidance do you have for other entrepreneurs, new emerging leaders, founders, and existing C suite team? Like, what indication do they need to look in at their self to say, I need to do some work on me or I need to do some work on the organization?
Yeah, I love that question because there's so many leaders out there that really need this type of work and they're scared to do it. And not to be repetitive, but it's really understanding that ego is not scalable. You're not going to get very far if you're ego driven. Everybody sees it, everybody
Yeah.
feels it, and it's gross, right? And all of us have an ego. It rears its head from time to time. So I would say that it's important when a leader realizes what ego is this that's popping and what's the root cause of it? Why is it popping up? Because again, sometimes there's an ego if you're competitive and you just want to win the deal. I mean, that's probably pretty good ego as long as it's coming from, again, a place of, I know why we want to win this business because we're the best at it. And this partner would be better for it, and on and on and on. But when it comes from a place of vanity and selfishness and drive the success, drive the success, drive the grind, that's not going to set you up for success. That's not going to set your team up for success. And again, I talk a lot about the ripple effect that is created by how leaders show up, good or bad. And so watch the ego and just really understand there's a sea of achievers in leadership, and achievers love to go from what straight to the how. And so notice we go right past the why. And the why is where all the answers are. It's where the
Mm,
meaning, the purpose, the true heart behind the drive that we are doing. And so when we pause and we stop and go, why are we doing this? Sometimes it's like, do I even want to do this? Am I just doing this because it sounds good, because it's on a job description? Like, is this the best thing for my team? Is this the best thing for the
mm.
company? Is this the best thing for the client partner? And then once you get those answers, the how naturally presents itself. But I think a lot of times with grind, I know you and I offline have talked a lot about grind culture, and we've been
Oh,
on another podcast talking about grind culture and how grind culture is not okay. Like, it's not okay. You're not going to get the optimum results that you would if you were more intentional with the culture. And I think it's just really watching how you're showing up and the ripple effect that you're sending out. Ego is a big driver of that.
I love that so much. When you were in corporate leadership, because I know that you worked with companies like Google and Sabre, what leadership lessons did you learn there? And how is it different based on when you were in house to now you're servicing corporations?
Yeah.
What's the difference there? I know that's a two-pack question, so feel free to two-part it, but I'm just curious how that shows up, what you've kind of gleaned from that experience.
Was very fortunate in my career at Google and Sabre and Travel Leaders Corporate to have awesome leadership, like awesome leadership. Still friends with them all these years later. I mean, I was at Google 20 years ago, which I can't even believe. That is wild to me. Awesome leadership. And what made them awesome? We had real conversations. We had the culture and the ability and the environment to speak our minds, to contribute, to share ideas, to fail, fix it, move forward. The best leader I ever had, Paul Nelson, I have him on a pedestal. He was my SVP when I was at Travelocity, which Sabre owned. I circled back to Sabre Hospitality in a leadership role. But he was my leader at Travelocity. And I mean, the man just created the most incredible culture. It felt like family. And there's a funny story where I was like, can I move? He's like, I mean, I guess, where do you want to go? So I'm in Dallas. I'm like, I want to go to New York. He's like, okay, go to New York. I'm like, great. So I go to New York. Then 9/11 happens, and I'm a little worried about being lost and forgotten up there because our office got dramatically smaller. So I'm like, can I move back? And he's like, you are such a pain in my, you know what? And he's like, but you know what? I know a happy Carrie is a productive Carrie. let me move some things to make sure that you're good because I expect great things from you as a result. That's a great leader. I've also had terrible leaders after I left Sabre, and I left the company because of those leaders. And that's the thing. People don't leave the company, they leave their leaders. In the seat that I play now with CareerFrame, as far as executive coaching to C-suite SVPs, we do a ton of team dynamics work and just leadership development at every level. It is different because I don't work for the company. I work with the leader who's employed by that company. So there's a unique level of objectiveness. There's a unique level of telling them the hard things and asking the hard questions. And so I tell people that I am a coach and advisor. I'm going to ask questions and pull stuff out of you. I'm also going to give you some advice if I can relate to it, if I've been there, and if you want it. Right. And so that's really the difference is leadership in a corporate setting. I do think that sometimes leaders feel that there is only so much they can do because there's HR and they're worried about any kind of backlash and things like that. When you're a consultant, it's a little different. We can say and do things that HR can't. We want to be respectful and we want to know our lane and we don't want to get in. We want to partner with HR. But again, there's some things that we can come in and influence differently because the leaders feel like they have truly a confidential conversation. Sometimes, I mean, they may not feel it's as confidential with an internal employee.
That's very fact-based there. I've been a part of external coaches
Yeah.
and then internal coaches, and there's always a layer of, yeah, but are they rolling this back to HR? Are they rolling this back to my
Right.
manager? Can I really trust this person? So I do think that's a really important component when selecting who you're going to work with if you go outside of your organization.
Yeah.
And then knowing too, if you're trying to build a coaching program, which I have done several inside corporation, that there's a couple of things happening there. Not everybody wants it. So you might be wasting your money. Not everybody's going to trust it. And the people that really want it, whether you give it to them or not, are going to go get it. So I think there's a way of kind of going, how can we bridge this gap to get where we want to get? So you say something that I love. I've heard you say this many times. You say communication is a team sport. So I'm curious because I'm seeing this a lot in the world we're living in now, the multi-generations, the AI fast tech. And I know that you know this in your household as well, all different types of people in the honeycomb of diversity. Why is communication a team sport? And what do you mean by that?
Yeah. So oftentimes the leader will think their team's the problem. The team is thinking the leader, they're the problem. And the actual problem is really alignment that stems from communication. So I got my degree in communication. I am a certified Gallup strengths coach. My number one talent theme is communication. That is the main thing that I come in and that my team and I come in and do, especially me, just because, again, I'm communication number one. But our team focuses on how we drive communication within an organization. It is a broad topic, and I don't mean for it to sound cliche, but communication is the key. And so one person is not going to create a successful team dynamic. Everyone on the team has got to participate and has got to contribute their words, their questions, their opinions, their ideas, the collaboration, mastering conflict, all of these things. It's going to build trust. We've got to get to know each other. And so it's got to happen at the team level. It can't just be one person, whether it be the leader or one person that is on the team in general, holding the flower and saying, everybody follow me. Doesn't work that way. And that's why we almost always start our engagements with clients with workshops. And we don't want people going, oh God, another workshop. I don't have time for this. Like, we're not doing it if we're not going to have fun with this. That is a priority to me. And it's always the first thing I say in a group setting is like, I want to make sure we're having a good time because this is 4 to 8 hours you're not getting back. And I want you to want to be here. And my hope is by the time you leave, you're like, okay, that was good. That was good use of my time. I've got some ahas. And so in that setting, we're basically asking everybody to pause from the day to day, to get out of their normal environment, walk away from their desk, change the setting, and go inside to the team and get everyone talking and sharing. And I mean, I've done this with plenty of introverts. And so there is a way to encourage people to speak up, create that safety and that trust in the room. And everyone's got to be contributing to that for the team to get aligned, for the team to build that trust, to be able to have really good, productive conflict. Conflict is not bad. It is necessary on a high-performing team. But you're only going to have it if you have trust, and you're only going to build trust when you're actually talking to each other and getting to know each other. So that's what I mean by communication is a team sport.
So, what do you see that most leaders get wrong with communication today?
A little bit of what I started out saying, which is it's not my problem. The team won't talk to each other. And the leader is setting the stage. The leader is setting the example. And so there's often projecting. Or they also think, yeah, I communicate. I send out a newsletter once a quarter. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I think that that a lot of leaders also, they know this. There's so many things that all these brilliant people know, but they don't think about it. So you and I will march in and we'll say something and they're like, mind blown, or like, oh yeah, well, you know this stuff, but we're just asking you to pause so you can remember it, right? And so I think that one thing that they're getting wrong is that they hear this big broad topic of communication and kind of poo-poo it, or they don't realize that you're not doing it frequently enough, or it's so cliche. The thing that they're not really thinking about is in the absence of communication, people make up stories. We are
This is
negative
valid.
creatures. We have between 50 and 75,000 thoughts a day, and like 80% of them are negative. It doesn't matter how positive and optimistic you are. We are negative because most of us lead with our brains, not our hearts. And our brains are kind of wired to almost stay a little bit in some gentle hum of fight or flight. And so when we're making all of our decisions from a hum of fight or flight, gee, why is all this not amazing, awesome stuff following? Right. So when we don't have the communication, people are making up stories. They're
Yeah.
usually wrong. We assume, and therefore there's no expectations. And so I think leaders get it wrong when they assume they have communicated, but then they're wondering why they're not getting the results that they expect. They wonder why there's not alignment. They wonder why they're babysitting their team. They wonder why they're being pulled into the weeds and end up doing the work for their people.
Hmm.
I mean, that's a whole other
Yeah.
podcast episode, Chrissy. I
That's
could
a
go
whole
on
other
and
podcast.
on with that topic.
Well, just putting kind of like a case study to that question, I firsthand have seen CEOs squash their entire company because they're not communicating. You've got product over here that's launching a product. You have sales selling something they think is getting launched that's not. You have account executives trying to execute against all of this stuff, and no one's rowing in the same direction. It's absolute chaos and it kills hope because each of these individuals are doing their job. They're doing it because they want to be purposeful and successful and have the company thrive. So when you have that toxicity that happens, which I think comes from ego, which you mentioned earlier, and then lack of awareness of like, how are you showing up? Right. And that really brings me to my next subject with you, because you also talk a lot about, which I'm woo. So I really, really love this, but you talk about the returning to the energy, return on energy, ROE. So I'd love for you to share a little bit about what that means.
So I am on a mission to demystify energy at work as woo woo. It's not woo woo, it's strategic. When we stop and literally just stop and look around, absolutely everything on this planet is built on energy. We are an energetic vehicle and vessel. And so it is, how are we showing up physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually? And spiritually is purpose and meaning. And so when you think about return on energy, it's kind of like how we started the conversation when we talk about the grind culture. Okay.
Mm.
A lot of times people in a grind culture, they're so burned out because they're grinding in a direction that is draining their energy. It is not giving them that return. And so this is not only making sure that you are playing to your strengths, because that is all about what energizes you from the most to what drains your energy the most, but it is about thinking, if I'm going to put my time, my energy, my efforts, my thoughts, my money, my whatever towards this initiative, this feeling, this thing, can I see where this is going? So again, if I'm going to invest my money into Nvidia stock, then I'm like, I'm hoping I'm going to get a really awesome ROI on this because I can see where AI is going. Right. And so it's the same thing of when you are putting your energy and your, again, time, energy, money, whatever, and all of those things stem from energy, time and money and everything. Okay. Can I see the return that I'm going to get on this? And sometimes that return is instant. Yay. Sometimes it's years away. Like if you're a startup entrepreneur, unless you're a unicorn and you turn it around and you make $1 billion in 2 years. But most of the time, it's a journey. And so when you assess it that way, you can then decide, and this is where you got to get honest and real with yourself. Can I see the return? And if I can see this is going nowhere, then that's when you give yourself the permission to stop and to let it go, to eliminate it. If you can see that there could be a return, then you keep going. Now, sometimes, again, it feels good. Sometimes you're that entrepreneurial CEO that has to make the coffee like everybody else. So it's just a fun concept to play with to make sure that you are staying in an energized level, because even the hard things, again, if you're like, I am so sitting in the suck right now, but I can see where this is going. I believe it. I see it. That is the energy that you want to float on and you want to coast on and thrive on. So it's just a fun concept. I'm very big about energy at work around strengths, alignment, and momentum. And I think it really is a hidden source behind everything that people don't think about. Because again, they think it's, oh, energy, that woo woo stuff. Nope, it's not woo woo. It is very strategic, because I don't care how much time and money we have. If we are not energized, it's going to be 10 times harder, or it's not even going to happen.
Oh, it's going to show up in authenticity in everything
Yes.
you do. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So energy is it's a big thing. I'm very passionate about talking with people about it. I know you are
Well,
too.
that's my jam. I mean, because you have to let go of things that don't serve you to create space for things that do. And even if we were to take it in a practical lens and look at a corporation, okay, great. They tried this initiative and it failed miserably. So, what does that come down to? People might lose their jobs, people might get moved around. But if you're able to take a step back and go, we tried this, it didn't work, but here's the great things that came from it. Here's what we learned. And here's some ways with the coach, with the workshop, that I can uncover how we can move past this, move above this, move forward, and have each person rowing in the lane in which they light up. And that's something you specialize in. And frankly, it's your fault, and a very dear friend of one of ours that introduced us, because I also am now Gallup Strength certified. It's made me a better human. It's made me a better partner and mom and
Mhm.
all the things. My son, and I shared this with you, his number one is context.
Mhm.
My number 34 is context. My number one was strategy. I think his number 34 was strategy. So you've got a mother and a son that are just talking to each other like this, like just his entire life. And so he's 32, and I got to have that phone call with him and say, "Oh, sweetheart, I'm so sorry. I
Yeah.
had no idea you needed to be communicated in this way." And that's just a parent son relationship. So if you take that magnitude into leadership and how impactful that can be to move the needle, I think it's beautiful.
Well, I mean, let's be honest, oftentimes leadership feels like parenting. I was on another podcast to ask, like, we were talking about adaptive leadership, and I'm like, I do adaptive leadership with my 2 children who are very different. You do adaptive leadership with your team because you have all these individuals coming to work, all different experiences, different journeys, different lives, different thoughts, different emotion, different everything. And so that's what you and I have discovered is so powerful within Gallup Strengths is when a leader dives into this and they're being intentional, they're basically saying, okay, I want to get the most out of you, which means I need to understand your language, or I need to appreciate your language, and I need to make sure you are set up to play to those strengths. And I also, the leaders that are listening, I don't want that to feel like pressure. Okay. Because one way to get around that is you have people take the assessment, right? You do a workshop, everybody gets aligned. And then moving forward, you ask the person to communicate with you what their strengths are. You don't put the pressure on yourself to go memorize their strengths and have the strengths grid up in front of you all the time. If you want to do that, that's awesome. That's next level. At the same time, you can still be just as successful asking the person to own their destiny within your organization and come to you and say, so listen, I'm context number one. It helps me when you give me the who, what, where, when, why, and the history behind things. Oh, and I'm communication 34. So I'm going to be uncomfortable if you're going to ask me to go present to the C-suite. Right. So it's like giving them the power to have that conversation with you. And then that just starts to change the dynamic. I'm all about team dynamics. Again, that we're communicating as a team, we're thriving as a team, we're rowing in the same direction as a team. We all have our own seat and we all have our own role that we're supposed to play in that boat, but we still want the boat going in the same direction. And so it's fun. I think it's so fun.
You said something that if individuals haven't had an opportunity to be a part of, you said the team, I think you said graph. So something that's really interesting that you do that I find very, very helpful for organizations is you've got a team. Carrie comes in and does a workshop. you're getting a roadmap to your team and kind of how everybody sits in the buckets. So as a leader, it does help you not to have to memorize it, but you can kind of lean in, take a glance, check in on them. Again, it's intentional leadership. It shows that you care. And we've seen some amazing things I
Yeah.
have over my time and you as well.
One quick question just to give an example. So one of, our client partners, we've been with them for 6 years. They're $4 billion electronic distribution company in Texas, and the president just recently asked me, "Can I get a strengths grid for my senior team and all of the next level down?" So he's really big into succession planning, and I was like, I mean, if it wasn't awkward, I'd kinda wanna hug you and kiss you on the cheek right now for asking this question because that just tells me, again, he's the president and he's wanting to
Yeah.
be intentional around helping people get their butts in the right seat for the success of the business. That's the magic that this kind of stuff does. And so I'm certified in Gallup Strengths, emotional intelligence, situational leadership. They've done all three of these types of workshops and trainings because they're looking at where are you naturally strong and energized? Where are you with using your emotions intelligently? Please, anyone listening, don't ever say remove all emotion. That's not possible. As human beings, we cannot remove all emotion. We can use our emotions intelligently. And then with
Mhm.
situational leadership, that's adaptive leadership. That's how can I make sure that I'm leading you in the way that you need me to lead you? So it's a follower driven model. And that's why I use those three proven frameworks as kind of my triad, my trinity, whatever you want to call it, of behind the frame it method, basically, to help build this picture for leaders and teams. And it just changes the culture. It evolves the culture. So again, it's so fun. I have fun doing what I do.
No, and I love that, and I know that you're 10 years, by the way. I know we talked about that. That's a huge accomplishment to go from dipping your toe and going into this and kinda taking a step back, and I think you went to corporate for a little bit.
I did. Well, when I failed the first time, I was like, I need safety. I went back to corporate for 2 years, and it was during that time that I was like, this is not where I'm supposed to be. So I did a lot of work on myself to do it right, and then jumped back in, and again, that's when things really took off.
Yeah,
Yep.
and you're one of I aspire to be like Carrie Fabris someday where I can sit in the wild and strength spot people. I've had some really cool experiences with you. Even at lunch, you helped me with a massive breakthrough in 30
Mm,
minutes. By the way, we weren't intending to have that conversation, but you do have a gift for this type of work. And
thank
I
you.
think that I'm honored to have got to meet you and work with you in it. So as we talk about all the stuff that you've got going on, what guidance would you like to give leaders if they feel like they're in the middle of their own failure story, whether it's in corporate or personal? Like, what guidance would you give them?
So I would say that if you are in the middle of a failure story, congratulations.
You're
Good for you.
growing.
Good for you. You're growing. Exactly. I really, and I say this respectfully, I do not understand the fear of failure mentality. That translates into a fear of growth. And the minute we stop growing, we start dying. And so awesome. If you are in the middle of this, it is a growth opportunity. Frustration means you're about to have a breakthrough and ask for help. It is a strength to ask for support. Work with an executive coach, be that sounding board for you that can also give some guidance, hold space, and like hold up the mirror and just say, here's what I'm seeing, here's what I'm hearing. Like, how can I support you and serve you to help you move through this? And you've got to move through it. You got to go forward. Can't bury stuff and push it under the rug. It just gets bigger and nastier. And
Yeah.
so I would say, again, ask for support and keep going, is because it feels like pain, but pain is the only way to joy of any kind. And so when you experience that pain, it's growth, and that's exciting. So find someone that can support you through it and that can be that sounding board who knows a little bit what they're talking about and can help you with your team, help you with your journey, help you with the business. That's what I would suggest.
That's really sage advice. So, if we look at celebrating 10 years, again, congratulations, and the next chapter, it's a huge accomplishment. But what's next? And this is where I'm teasing you guys because I know what's next for Carrie. But what's next? Because you're a coach. So I know you've got a coach and I know you have your own goals. So let's talk about what's next for Career Fame.
Yeah. My absolute love and passion is facilitating and doing the group work. I love the one-on-ones. I'm getting more particular about who I coach one-on-one. I have an awesome team, which, someone on this podcast other than me may or may not be a part of that enjoys doing the one-on-one stuff, is phenomenal at it, and I enjoy it. It's my zone of excellence. My zone of genius is the group work. I guess kind of a strange duck for my tenure. I didn't go out and take a trip. I didn't have a party. I didn't buy any nice watch for myself. I said, you know what? I would love to attract 10 new workshops. I want to do the work. I want to go have fun and do the work. So I am putting it out there to invite people to connect with me and with our team, allow us to come in and do these workshops, whether it be strengths, emotional intelligence, accountability is a big one that I love doing. 5 dysfunctions of a team, which is Patrick Lencioni's amazing work. I love that workshop as well. We focus on trust, conflict, commitment, accountability, and results. Also situational leadership around adaptive leadership. So I am just on this mission to book these 10 workshops in 60 days and selfishly, I want to have fun doing the work. And then it is, of course, very focused on the impact that I love to create within organizations. So that's kind of the next stage for me. And then also, I'm playing with perhaps creating a masterclass into 2027, which I don't think you and I have talked a lot about yet. So TBD on that. That I'm starting to feel very called to that for executive levels. So stay tuned.
I love all of the things. And what I find interesting, and I've seen this with a lot of coaching companies, right? You've got the big bears that are ingrained and service these massive companies. But then you've got these mid-level companies that are
Mhm.
kind of emerging. They've got the heart. I really enjoy seeing them. But what I think is really interesting about how you've structured Career Frame based on the research I've done and what I've seen is that you think outside yourself. You
Mm,
think of
thanks.
scalability because there's
Yep.
only so much that Carrie can do. And guys, Carrie's referred me to people that have reached out to her because my strengths and their strengths might be more in alignment.
Yep.
That's what I really appreciate about you because you're not like, oh, it's my precious. All of these are
No.
mine.
Yeah.
It's let me help as many people as possible. And by the way, I have a really bad group of team here that can help me
Badass is what you meant to
I was
say,
gonna
not
say
bad.
badass. Yes, I was trying not to say it. But you have a band of awesomeness on your team that
Yeah.
have very specific strengths, which allows you to have that scalability. It allows you to take on more at a time. And then post the workshops, it allows you, just like the president you were speaking about, to go a layer down and another layer down.
Yeah, that's a team approach and it wasn't always that way. It was just one woman show and I'm like this is not going to work. And so that's cool about having it. What is cool about Career Frame is we get brought in. I love doing the workshops, the team stuff, coaching some of the C-suite, SVP. And then anyone that leads people within the organization, we bring in, like as you said, the rest of you. And it creates the Career Frame team is now working within the organization. So they feel like they're supported by several of us. And even the work stuff, like with one of my clients, 2 other people on our team, they support them as well. And I'm doing what I call a fireside chat with Carrie, which means there's no presentation, there's no deck. I've got a topic and I get the room filled and I just facilitate conversation. And so Lisa on our team, she coaches some of the people in the room. So she's coming as well. So it's both of us. It's not just hold Lisa over here and I'm going to go do it. It's like, no, you coach these people, but yeah, I'll lead the group conversation, but I want you to be part of it. So really is a team approach, which is great.
Yeah, it's beautiful. All right. So, as we just talked about your mission that you're
Yes.
going to accomplish here, and you've already got one, right?
I got one. I've got 2. The second one in conversations, just got to send the agreement. My goal is to get these 10 booked in the next 60 days. And I've been asked, like, why now? It's a great
Mhm.
time now because it's the middle of the year. And so it's like you've had a really good first half. You can have a great second half when you make sure that your team is aligned. We're building that momentum. Again, it's strengths, alignment, and momentum that just sends it into the second half of the year. So you have a really phenomenal 2026.
And give your team a safe space that they can share these things so the team can help hug and give you an all round approach, right? So everybody's elevating because I promise you, I've led teams for 20 years. I promise you, they are not telling you everything. So it is so helpful. So, what kind of clients should reach out to you? how do they know that they don't know that they need you, right? How can they identify like, oh, I just heard this and I actually do need Carrie to come in? What are some of the telltale signs that you could throw out there?
Yeah, I would say it's a spectrum. So, one, I want to start positive. It could just be, I have a really awesome team. I'd like to pour into them. It is the middle of the year. I'd like to just do something fun, informative that is useful to them and just have us get together. Let's do that. The other side is I am frustrated. I am babysitting my team. I don't understand why I'm not getting the results that I expect. We've got kind of a weird dynamic on the team. We're not talking to each other, or we're talking to each other, but we're just not hitting our KPIs. And I need to understand why that is. Any of those things that might pop up. And again, as a leader, you're saying, I don't want to have to babysit. I really just want to know that they're self-motivated, that they're understanding what needs to happen, that they're doing it. But again, that's where you get together as a group. So the group and the leader are all hearing the same thing at the same time, with a facilitator who, quite frankly, calls things out when I hear that it's not aligned. So I would say that. And again, the why now, it's just a great opportunity to do it mid-year.
It all ding, ding, dings for me. Okay.
Yeah.
So Carrie, if somebody is listening to this
Yeah.
and they think, wow, I like what you have to say. Yes, I have some of those challenges. How would you like them to reach out to you? How can they start the process?
Yeah, absolutely. So on our website, careerframe.com, we have a contact form. You can simply put some information there. It comes directly to me, and then I will respond right away. I'd love to set up obviously a free consultation to just talk and ask some questions and hear what's going on. Is there a problem that needs to be solved? Can we solve it? And if we can't, I will tell you. I will say that's not something that we focus on. However, I likely have someone that can. So really want to be collaborative in that way as far as just offering service and support. So careerframe.com. I'm also on LinkedIn. So send a note to me on LinkedIn as well. I am on Instagram. There is a Career Frame Instagram, but I just kind of do everything on CD Fabris. I'm like, you're just going to get all of me. You're going to get personal Carrie. You're going to get professional Carrie. Like again, you're going to get authentic Carrie, but you can reach out to me there as well. But it's probably best to go through Career Frame or through LinkedIn.
Perfect. Well, for those listening, if any of this resonated with you, please go check out all of Carrie's podcasts. They're quite good. Like, follow, and subscribe to this one. Go check out this lady. And if any of this resonated with you, you probably need a consultation. Let's have a conversation. Until next time, thank you, Carrie. Thank you so much for
Thank
holding
you so
space.
much. This was great.
Yeah.
Appreciate
All
you.
right. Let's go. We got 8 more to go. 9 more to go. Let's get some workshops.
8.5. Let's do it. Sounds good.
Ciao.
Thanks.